Hi, I'm Marty Nemko. As we enter the weekend, I thought I'd lighten up things and do something that's maybe appropriate for the season and the weekend. Um, so, you're attracted to growing roses because of the romantic image, the beautiful flower form, or the fragrance, or because your grandparent grew them. The attraction to roses is understandable in a world that's ever more high tech, impersonal, and where some people are ready to pounce if you say the wrong word. The peace of mind that can derive from a simple pleasure like rose growing can be appealing, especially now when we're at the best time of the year to buy and plant roses. But you're much less attracted to the idea of fancy pruning, frequent feeding, let alone spraying with an arsenal that would have scared Saddam Hussein. Yeah, I'm not attracted to that either. I've read the frou-frou advice. I've even attended lectures by rosarians. Yeah, that's actually a term. I've even tried some of their messages. I've actually grown a couple of hundred roses over my lifetime, and I've concluded, nah. Yet I still have nice roses, maximum pleasure with minimal effort. But which roses? A rose is not a rose is not a rose. To make choosing easier, I have the audacity here to pick 4 from among the thousands of available roses that I think are tops. The criteria I used are classic rose form. There's no need to get a rose if you don't care about form. You can just get a marigold. Lots of flowers. Stingy varieties need not apply. Vigorous, that means fast growing to its ultimate size. No spraying needed. Sure, if you're a fuss budget, wear a hazmat suit or at least gloves, and pollute the air with an arsenal of fungicides and pesticides so your plant will have nary a chewed leaf or petal nor fungus spore. But remember, this little talk is the lazy person's guide, not the perfectionist's guide to growing roses. The first variety is Black Magic, deep velvety red, long-lasting, perfect rose form. Gemini, perfectly formed two-tone pink. It opens more quickly than Black Magic, so it'll do better in half-day than full-day sun. Julia Child, it's a floriferous yellow, it's fragrant. Its form isn't as good, but it's very healthy. This is another rose that will do a little better in half than full-day sun. Pope John II. It's a pure white of fine form, a little tall for my taste, about 5 feet, but healthy and fragrant. Planting. Plant after the last frost, but don't worry if your baby gets a little late frost. The baby will likely just be fine. Will likely be fine. When you get your plant, cut out any parts that look skinnier than the rest. Cut them off at the base of the plant. It's not mission critical. Your rose is not going to die. But if doing it's going to make you nervous, ask somebody else to do the pruning. 2. Unless you've bought the rose in a large pot rather than bare root in a package or by mail order, let the rose sit in a few gallon bucket of water for at least the time it takes to dig your hole, but as long as 2 weeks if that's more convenient. 3. Find a spot for your rose that gets at least half a day's sun. 4. Dig a hole that's roughly a foot square, then use your shovel to loosen a few inches of the hole's bottom and sides. That makes the hole more root friendly without you having to dig more out. Keep the dug up soil alongside the hole and dump 2 shovelfuls of compost on that. 5. Hand mix the soil mixture as you're putting 2/3 of it back in the hole. 6. Position your rose in the middle, pushing the outer long roots downward, covering that with soil to keep those roots pointing downward. Now fill the rest of the hole. 7. Over the top of the plant, which should now have the soil at ground level, put a sleeve made of an open-up half-gallon milk container or a 1 or 2 gallon plastic pot with the bottom cut out, which you can do with your pruning shears. Fill that 3/4 of the way to the top with your soil mixture. Now water the whole thing slowly through the top of the sleeve. The sleeve keeps the rose from drying out during the first month until roots are growing. 8. The rose needs to stay moist, so if you haven't had rain for a week or more, water it gently but deeply. 9. A month later, gently push back the soil in the sleeve to see if leaves have started to bud. If so, gently remove the sleeve and use your hose to gently wash away the sleeve soil. 10. Around St. Patrick's Day, mid-March, or a few weeks later, fertilize with whatever granular, not liquid, fertilizer you have handy. General purpose fertilizer, even long fertilizer, is good enough, as long as the first of the 3 numbers is at least as big as the other 2 numbers, potassium and phosphorus. Just sprinkle half a trowel full of fertilizer in a 1 to 2 inch wide circle that's 1 foot from the plant's center. Water it slowly until you sense the fertilized water has gotten down at least a foot. Fertilize again around Memorial Day. again around July 4th, and last time around Labor Day. 11. If you have an automatic watering system, depending on the rains, mid-March is usually a good time to turn it on. A few gallon per hour dripper or shrubler head is a good one to use for roses. Twice to 3 times a week for 15 minutes, 10 minutes, about right. And if it's hot, supplement with one hand watering in between. 12. Cut roses to bring in the house or to give to friends or just to cut off the dead blooms. Use pruning shears rather than scissors. To keep your plant compact, cut at the cane's lowest bud eye. That is where the hint of new growth is. It's just above a leaf. And if that leaves too long a stem for your decorative purposes, of course, recut your cut flower to the size you want. Come early next spring, or January in frost-free climates. Prune them back to half to 2/3 the plant's size, and again cutting just above the lowest bud eyes on each cane. And finally, you're done. Just enjoy the roses, including the miracle of growth. One of roses' pluses is that the plant goes from bare canes to lush flowering plant in just 3 months. The classically formed rose may be among nature's, well, at least hybridizers' greatest creations. Of course, roses are but one of many simple, financially and side effect-free ways to maintain your emotional health. Of course, other plants may have particular emotional value for you. I think, for example, of the daisies and Queen Anne's lace that I picked as a child, or the marigolds and zinnias I grew from seed. Then there are the creative arts. Many people feel good emotionally when listening to or playing music, reading or writing, doing needlework, and so on. As we sit in winter's cold, it is a particularly good time to begin or renew an interest in such calm restoratives. Is there one that calls out to you? Of course, by the way, the timing for when to plant roses is going to vary with the locale. In most of the U.S., January and February are the best months to buy from rose specialty catalogs like Regan, R-E-G-A-N, and Regan Rose Nursery. You can Google that, or Edmonds Rose Nursery. And then they'll deliver it in time for you to plant at the last frost that's expected in your area. And in climates that get little or no frost, like much of California, January and February are the best times not only to buy, but to plant, and local nurseries have the best selection at the year's lowest prices. In any event, I do thank you for watching. I'm Marty Nemko. I welcome your thumbs up, accept your thumbs down. I love it when you hit the share button and share it on your social media so that my efforts have broader impact. I'm also flattered if you subscribe, and in any event, I do thank you for watching. I'm Marty Nemko.